YouTube, what's going on? My name is Pat, and this is Pat's Tech Talk. This is a new channel I've created to basically break down and normalize for the layman's the current industry that we all love, technology and gaming. Instead of it being all ones and zeros and these convoluted technical terms everybody hates to hear, I wanted to create a channel that breaks everything down and kind of simplifies it. So basically, what you're going to get is a lot of me spewing out information that's probably simplified to someone that's educated on this matter a little too much, but for the everyday consumer, they can take it in. They can, again, take it with a grain of salt because half the time I'm not running a script. I'm not running notes. Everything's off the top of my head, things that I've read, things that I've viewed, things that I liked and disliked, and I'm just going to spit it back out to you in the most just normalized way possible. So today we're going to go over some things as far as the current market. Everybody knows it's a nightmare with graphics cards and CPUs and all these things that are so hard to get. That's going to be our general topic today. And we'll kind of have a guideline, a way forward with each video going forward. But mostly it's just going to be me ranting for 15 to 20 minutes every single time about some thing that's either annoying me or got me extremely excited, or somewhere in between. It might have annoyed me and got me excited. I'm looking at you, Cyberpunk. I mean, there's certain things that didn't exactly go good or bad. So without further ado, this is going to be the first video of Pat's Tech Talk. I hope you enjoy. All right, so today, what we're going to tend to kind of briefly go over and try to navigate is the gaming landscape as of today, and also where we stand as far as PCs, consumers, with the crypto boom, the astronomical rise of pricing of PC parts, especially GPUs and processors, Intel, AMD, it doesn't matter. They're all through the roof. Even power supplies and RAM has jumped up because the silicon and everything that are having problems getting it because of the crypto boom. People are vulturing the market for these parts, and companies didn't um they didn't plan for it. That's the word I don't want to use, but we're going to stick with that because I cannot think of the word. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about ranting. I don't have a note system pulled up. I don't have a script. I have a vague general idea of where I want to head with these videos, but there's no script. It is all in here and probably pretty uninformed, but it should be comedy. Like right now, I can't think of the word. So we're just going to forget about it. But companies didn't plan for these giant steps that these crypto miners have taken in sucking the market dry. On top of that, you factor in COVID. So COVID, really hit, we'll say early last year, early 2020, between January and March, it started hitting everybody worldwide. It hit China first, obviously, and then it kind of hit America, started around March. Nobody foresaw that, especially these companies that were producing these silicon parts, these processors, these power supplies, the RAM, the graphics cards, the CPUs. None of these things were projected. So when you send everybody home for months and months, and honestly, almost an entire year, a lot of people were working from home. That's an issue. Because what do people do when they work from home? They want to have a better setup. These companies are forking out millions and millions and billions of dollars for these work from home assets that they have, these employees. They want them to have better webcams, better setups, more monitors, better computers. Everything that had to do with what basically I'm doing right now, it went to people that aren't usually buying these pieces. They were perfectly fine having a Dell laptop that was middle of the road, that didn't need all this processing power. But when you stick everybody home on Zoom calls all day, doing all their editing at home, doing their Excel spreadsheets at home, all this sharing of information because everybody is stuck at home because of the COVID that was happening. Nobody planned for that. And it affected other things very similarly, as we see with lumber prices, with car prices, and honestly, the used car market is through the roof. I know this is a tech channel, but it's ridiculous. They can't even get processors for vehicles, 2021 vehicles, because there's none out there. It's not just affecting us as consumers of technology and gaming and all this other stuff. It's affecting the automobile industry. It's affecting anything that had a computer chip in it because nobody can get it. There are rumors that there are literally stadiums full of brand new vehicles that can't run because they don't have a processor in it. They're finished. They just don't have anything to make everything go. That's the disadvantage of a rapidly increasing market that is cornerstoned in technology. 100 years ago, yeah, you didn't need a processor. You didn't need anything because they didn't exist, but everything was simpler. You boom that market starting in the 50s and working its way up. Everything is basically dependent on a processor now. Everything is dependent on technology now. It's a good thing because everything's faster. Everything is at your fingertips. But when that market dries up because of X factor that you just didn't see coming, and for this situation, X, Y, and Z, because you've got COVID sucks the market dry. Nobody's producing because plants are shut down. Everybody's consuming because everybody's at home. People are buying stuff on Amazon because they're bored all day. They're spending money on things they probably shouldn't have spent money on. They're upgrading their computers. They're upgrading their setups. Everything, ring lights for one thing have skyrocketed in sales because of this very thing that people are doing. They're working from home. They're trying to sell stuff from home. They're needing good lighting for Zoom calls, for business meetings, all this other stuff. That's one. X, Y, crypto. Crypto boom. It boomed. It ebbs and flows. We all know this. 3 or 4 years ago, but Bitcoin jumped to $20,000. Everybody was losing their minds, and then it dumped again. It happens. It works in these cycles. It's like a microcosm of an actual economy. You take a 10 to 15 to 20 year economy of the United States. It does the exact same thing. It's just slower. You compact that into a 2 to 3 year span, you have crypto. The charts work exactly the same, just shorter periods of time. So people like that because they don't have to wait years for a profit. They can wait months, weeks, sometimes even days. So that enticed a lot of people. Crypto boomed. Ethereum marketing boomed. The hash rates, they were trying to suck up all these GPUs, these graphic cards that have a high hash rate. So what does that mean? Honestly, Google it, because I couldn't tell you the ins and outs of it. I can just give you a general overview. So a hash rate basically is how much money, we'll call it. It's more complicated than that, but how much money your GPU can make per second, minute, hour, day, whatever. So a stronger GPU, so a 1080 Ti or a 2080 Ti or a 3090 or a 3080 with the high VRAM, something you tend to want to have more than 6 gigabytes of VRAM on. Ethereum mining actually has a cap. They will not let you, through their programs that are accessible unless you write your own and all this other stuff. Most programs have a cap. You cannot use a graphics card that has below a 6 gigabyte VRAM because it's just not. I mean, you're not making money. I use my 1650 Super I had in my streaming PC to hash just for mine for a few days just to see what it would do, and it was like a couple bucks a day. I mean, literally like $2 or $3. Nothing. You get a better card, you get multiple cards running at the same time with honed, really good programming that you've probably paid money for, not the free stuff like Nice Hash and all these other things. You can make some money, and you literally click a button, turn it on, make sure that everything's wired up right and it's getting good air cooling, you're not doing nothing and it's just printing money for you. Granted, if the market's up, market crashes, everybody sells. Right now, currently, the market is in a bit of a crash, and it happens. Like I said, every 2 to 3 to 4 years, it's going to crash. It's just going to happen. Bitcoin was up to, I think the highest was almost 70K, and now it's down to the 30K. It's literally cut itself in half. That scares people because Bitcoin is the cornerstone. It's the pillar that everybody bases everything off of. That gets cut in half, everything else is going to be affected by it. It might not be for long. You might see a huge dip and then it starts climbing again. It depends on the coin. It depends on how popular. It depends on if Elon Musk is tweeting about it, like Dogecoin going through these huge ups and downs, peaks and valleys. That is basically a coin that somebody made as a joke. It has, I mean, they've kind of made it into something now, but years ago it was literally a joke coin. I put $70 in it when I got out of the crypto market in 2017. Went and cashed it out for 2,000 something a couple months ago, and actually cashed out early. I could have made way more money than that off of literally nothing at all. I wasn't mining. I wasn't even paying attention to the markets. I threw $70 in it because I had some spare change from when I had sold my Ethereum and my other coins when I was getting out because the market I could see it was going to crash. This was in 2017, beginning of 2018. I had a couple of extra bucks that I just like, I'm not going to cash it out. I'm not going to freaking worry about the taxes on a $70 coin. So I just threw it into Dogecoin. What happened? Didn't pay attention to it. Didn't even look at my account until I just heard on Facebook that Dogecoin boomed. And I had $2,000 in my account. What the fuck? I did nothing. That's a huge profit margin. I cashed, and then a couple months later, a couple weeks later, it goes down. But again, this entices people, and the people that are trying to cash in on that are buying up all of these graphics cards. They're buying up all these PC components. You ask the producers, you ask nvidia, you ask Intel, you ask AMD. They're saying that it's really not affecting them in the market as far as crypto mining is concerned. The majority is they just didn't project forward how many people were going to be working from home, how many processors were going to be needed to feed these consumers. Also, the silicon market is in a downturn right now. They're the wafers. Again, in layman's terms, you're going to use that word a lot. Look here for the layman. Basically, it means for the everyman. If you don't know what in layman's terms means, I don't know what to tell you. But so for the normal person, a silicon wafer is basically a fancy way of wording how they make a die or a chip or whatever it is. They use it for a lot of stuff. They don't just use it for CPUs and GPUs. They use it for other things as well. They're in cell phones. They're in cars. They're in your computer. They're in laptops. They're in gaming consoles. They're in everything. Anything that has a computer component has a silicon wafer of some type. The better the CPU, GPU, the more premium the silicon wafer that it was cut from. Those have become harder and harder to get. That's an issue. Again, you got X, Y, and Z. Z being the silicon market has had issues producing a high quality silicon wafer. It's almost like they're running low in, again, layman's terms. Now, I'm sure that they're not going to run out and we're just never going to have computer parts again. They'll figure something out. I don't know why it's low. I'm sure they don't want people knowing why in reality it's low. I'm sure you could probably find something on the internet about that. But it's running out right now. They're probably looking for other means of making these chips, these things that they need to have to connect A to B to make these processors think and work. Kind of like a brain. A lot of people associate a CPU with a brain. It's there. It's a part of the body. So it's a part of your computer system, but it's kind of like what tells everything to do what. There's a lot of more into that, but That's a simple way of putting it. So they need something to fill that void, and it's not there. So X, COVID, fuck, screwed everybody. Why? Crypto. It's never going away. Get used to it. That Y is always going to be there. And Z, the silicon market is kind of in a limbo right now. They've having issues producing these high quality wafers, and that's an issue that's going to affect a lot of people until they can iron it out. You've got a trifecta. What that means is you're not just experiencing one thing, so you have a slight dip for a little bit of time. You're not just experiencing two things, you have a slight dip for a little bit longer of time. You're experiencing three different things as well as other issues. That's why the market is where it's at. You can't buy something. I bought a 1080 to build my PC back in February. Got it for $250 on Facebook Marketplace. That 1080 right now sells for minimum double that. And this is the market. It's actually on its way down. I just looked. 1080 is going for $500 minimum. It's insane. And when I bought it, it was starting to go up, so I probably could have got it cheaper than that. You can't get new GPUs. Everybody knows the graphics cards. I refer to them as GPU. I know the GPU is just a processor in the graphics card, whatever. You can't get them. You just can't. It's starting to lessen up when it comes to the CPUs, processors themselves. But as far as graphics cards are concerned, it is damn near impossible unless you are standing there when they stock the shelf. You can't order it. You have to be there in person for half these sites because of the scalpers, and that's another issue. We'll call that YA because it's really related to the crypto market. You've got scalpers that are buying up hundreds of these cards at one time when they released. Companies weren't prepared for it, even though they were told you're going to have scalpers for it because of how these graphic card releases have gone. They didn't plan for it very well. Scalpers sucked up all the inventory, and then they started selling them for double the price. You can blame that, but it really all goes back to the crypto market. They wouldn't have been buying these cards if the crypto market wouldn't have been booming. So we'll call it YA. It's a piece of the puzzle, but it's really just related to crypto, in my opinion. You ask the developers, these people, you ask AMD, you ask Intel, you ask nvidia. They say that scalpers really aren't, along with the crypto market, really isn't affecting their inventory as much as people are trying to blame them. They just want somebody to blame. So they see a scalper as this guy in a hoodie with glasses on being this, low down dirty thief, basically. So they want somebody to blame. It's harder to blame a virus. It's harder to blame a market. It's harder to blame the silicon industry. They want somebody that looks bad in memes. They say, it's the scalpers. If you really ask them, they say it's really not. But again, you're taking that with a grain of salt. So that's the market right now. And I understand it's starting to lessen up. Thank God, because I want a 30 series card so bad. And I've tried and tried and tried, but I am not paying $1,000 for a $400 card. I'm not doing it. I'll use my 1080 until it's a great card. I love it. It's 4-year-old technology. I don't care. But that's what we're going to cover right now. Again, it's a rant. You can fact check me all you want to, and I guarantee you half the things I said have probably been proven somewhat wrong, but it's a rant. These are just my opinions on what I've heard, on what I've researched, on what I've heard from other YouTubers, and that's just my opinion. But I appreciate everybody coming by. Again, this was just a taste. We're going to start bettering these videos as we go. I really just wanted to throw something on the page that was relevant and was interesting and would grab somebody's attention, because I'm trying to get information out there. I know it's hard. You Google it and you get 1,000 articles all saying a bunch of different stuff. And I hate that. I want somebody like me that's going to Google, hey, what's going on? You get a video of somebody like me just breaking it down in simple terms for people to understand. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to provide that information. So if you like the video, like the video, subscribe, turn your notifications on. We've got a blog that's going to be posted soon. It's basically a website, patstechtalk.com. It's going to basically be blogs of the similar information that I'm giving you in video form, just written out and probably explained a little bit better, because it's kind of easier to type and think and type and think and maybe pull up some information as I go instead of just blurting it all out. So we've got those things coming. The YouTube channel's already up. Obviously, this is what it's being posted on. Also, if you look over here, that's my Twitch handle. It's the Gunslinger09. I go through all this stuff live in face. You can ask questions as much as you want to while you can watch me do some gameplay, or check out my Twitter again, the Gunslinger09. I basically tweet a bunch of bull crap, and you can also see when I go live and my opinions on stuff. So more to come, more to follow, more structure coming. But again, I just wanted this video out for you, for the consumer, to kind of give you a taste. So without further ado, y'all have a great day.